This is our second look at Arona, Pennsylvania. This mapping is from 1867, and what I want to do is focus in just a bit here. (1867) is the first time Arona appears on a map. Actually, it's on a map before, but it has no name before 1867. Of interest to me in this particular one, this is Arona here. However, right down here, you have to learn these symbols that they used in the old maps. This is a symbol of a coal mine right down here. It says coal bank, which was the earlier term for a coal mine. Usually it was a bank where there was a seam of coal showing, and then they would dig into it and it would become a mine. From what I've been able to find, the mine was not exactly at Arona. It was like over in this area over here, you would see the mines showing up. This is Arona, what we were just looking at. Over here to the west were the mines. There were coke ovens here. There was a mine here, a mine here, a mine down here, probably a mine here, and also very likely a mine up here. But I don't have exact evidence to show you just where they were, but we can be pretty sure they were there. This is context. Here's Arona over here. Harmony's over here. Madison's down here. In this area here, this is where the actual mines were. Even though Arona was here, the mine called Arona Mine and Madison Mine was actually up here. Now this is from 1939, when the mines were out of business and had been sold. This is Arona that we're looking at here. And as we look over this way, we see the Hempfield Branch Railroad. This was the place where the coke ovens were. And you look over here, you can see, you know, there were mines over this way. There was a mine up this way. You can see the slag power, the Boney dump. Mines were not pretty places. They always had a bad habit of going out of business, filing, you know, their articles of dissolution, and they were no longer in a corporation. They could just move on and, you know, leave a terrible mess for somebody to clean up. But anyhow, all that aside, we're going to move on and take a look at, you know, this area from above, and then come down into Arona and take a look at it. Now we come out on the ground and get a look at Arona from a bit distant perspective perhaps, but it'll help orient us. Greensburg over here. Now Route 36 comes out of town, coming out this way, more or less west-southwest. About 7 miles west-southwest out of Greensburg, you find Arona. Arona is a girl's name, coming from the Hebrew tradition, and I have no idea how it got attached to the place we're looking at. Maybe we'll find out. What we're going to do is come in from the air. We're going to come into this intersection right here and then go down through Arona a bit. Take a look at it. This is Arona Road coming down from Route 30. This is Route 136 coming out from Greensburg, and they meet right here. And at that very point, we're going to take this little guy over here, put him right in the intersection, and if all goes well, we will land right there. And I should warn you, all does not always go well, but we hope. This is looking back 136 toward Greensburg. And we spin around and look down Main Street in Arona and hope that we can get going down that way. Because down at the bottom of the street here, there are a few things that are worth pointing out. As we spin around here, that's the post office. And you also see a nicely taken care of recreational area. And on the other side of the street, there's a war memorial over here. And what we're looking at here through this way is the old right-of-way, the right-of-way of the old Hempfield Railroad, which came through here in the early 1890s. By 1892 was in business. It's no longer here. And I'm not certain exactly when the railroad was taken out, but in the the 1930s, the late 1930s, the mines were sold by that time. So my guess is the Hempfield Railway was out by then, but somebody who lives around there might know better, and I would like to hear from them. As we head down this way, we are now right over Little Sewickley Creek, which probably has not been much improved by the presence of mining here. And we also might note that the railroads, which came right down through here, often followed the water courses simply because it was easier for the railroads, because the water courses had easier up and down grades. That's a nice old house, big old 4-square brick house. As we come down the road, one of the things we happen to notice is the fact that there's a log house here, which tells us very quickly that Arona was here before the mines. Now, you have to be careful about these things, because I remember one time I was on a cultural resource survey in West Virginia, and we were standing looking at this log barn, and we were commenting that, yeah, this is a really old barn. It's been here a long time. That means this farm is pretty old. And here came a lady driving in the driveway, person that lived there, and we asked her, how old is this barn? She says, oh, they built that right after the Second World War. It was like, whoops. It was apparently a time when there was more trees. There were more trees around than there was money, and so they simply built a log barn. But in this case, I think we're not wrong to say that this indicates that Arona is an old place. I mean, I know that simply because of mapping, older mapping and older written indications that tell us Arona was there for quite a while. We have a church here. You know, a well taken care of church. Let me see houses around here. There's habitation and life going on. This looks like it might have been a store once upon a time. We don't see a lot of stores, but there is evidence of a lot of activity around town. What I can't help pointing out is another log house. You know, this very definitely says to us that there was habitation here quite a while ago. I remember seeing a map from 1857 when you could see the roads going through about the same position they are now. And there were a few houses around, but not many. And the place really didn't have a name yet, but there was habitation there that you could tell that. About 10 years later, in 1867, you see Arona showing up on a map with the name Arona on it. And it's actually an incorporated town. That didn't happen until after the mines arrived. The mines opened about 1892. And then 1895, Arona was incorporated as an incorporated borough in the township of Hempfield. As we get down, we look at the various houses. Some of them have a very similar structure. Makes me wonder whether they might have been built by the mine. I know there were houses up toward 136 that were built by the mine. I'm not certain whether these were, but again, we sometimes, in doing these things, people come up with information that that's helpful, because I obviously don't know all about this place, but the people who lived around there and do live around there know a lot more about it than I do. And I always actually pass along this stuff in the hope that people who know more about it than I do will share that information. What I'm working on in these little videos is not in-depth history. What I'm really trying to do is a survey of local history. I mean, even though I really like to find the in-depth histories, and there are so few of them around, what I'm working on at this point is simply a survey of the local history, trying to point out what happened where. And as we get down this way, I get the feeling that we're getting down to the end of Arona, and this will probably be the end of this particular session on Arona, unless something else turns up, and you never know. Sometimes things turn up. So I'm going to say so long for now, unless something else turns up. Bye now.